What's up, guys? Brian here, and we have hit all-time highs with Ethereum. Most people would consider that we have hit all-time highs. It wicked up to like 1440 on Binance. I know on some exchanges, or maybe if you play out some averages or something like that, some people are saying, nah, we didn't really hit an all-time high. I kind of consider we did hit an all-time high. Seems like it's pulled back a little bit from that. But I think we'll keep going up, and I can, easily see $2,000 on the horizon now in the very short term, within the next couple of weeks kind of thing. So I just want to talk about price predictions. I did a previous video where I definitely warned people about a lot of YouTubers who don't usually talk about crypto suddenly are making Bitcoin videos and what they think, and usually they're business type gurus who maybe their specialty is real estate, or might be Amazon FBA, or it might be just general business mindset. And so suddenly they're making Bitcoin videos again, or they're making them for the first time kind of thing. And I kind of warned people about a week ago that that's one of my indicators that things are getting a little bit overheated, and that certainly we could have a pullback, but that it's not the end of it or anything like that. Now, the second thing I want to warn people about is these outlandish price predictions that YouTubers make who are in the cryptocurrency space. And it gets to be like an ongoing joke of like, how much more ridiculous can somebody make a price prediction and then justify it, which would almost seem plausible that it was justifiable. So I'm seeing all kinds of stuff, and I'm going to make the thumbnail insane. I'm probably going to make it $93,000 Ethereum. And, but I want to give you guys a real price prediction of what I really think. And again, I stay very, very conservative on things. For instance, before this whole run up, I was saying that there's going to be a little bit of diminishing returns with both Bitcoin and with Ethereum, but especially Bitcoin, that the fees would be so high. And that didn't necessarily stop people last bull run, from continuing to purchase it on things like Coinbase and just leaving it hang out there, and they never moved the coins. They didn't know how to move the coins. It didn't stop them necessarily from purchasing it. It did obviously slow down kind of the velocity of the money, people not being able to move it around and stuff like that. And it does become a hindering factor for people trying to move stuff off of hardware wallets or move it from wallets that are on their computer. And that's going to happen with Ethereum as well. Like I've said, you're not going to be able to move this stuff. When we get kind of closer to the peak, you're not going to be able to move it, which is unfortunate, because if you're using best safety practices and you have your coins on a hardware wallet, or on even if it's a software wallet or something on your computer, and you're not leaving it hanging on the exchanges, you suddenly become disadvantaged. And the only people that you kind of maybe end up in a better situation than, by having to pay the huge fees and stuff like that, is someone who maybe gets hacked or something on some kind of centralized platform. And, the platform becomes insolvent and they don't get their money back or something. How much we're going to see that this time around, I'm not really sure, but we certainly will see it. It happens, it happens all the time. So yeah, going back to the whole situation, you have a diminishing returns from a couple different directions. You have a diminishing return from the psychological barrier of these prices getting so high that it's not palatable. If you get into Ethereum for thousands of dollars and you have Bitcoin for tens of thousands of dollars, that is it really kind of messes with people's mind, especially when they relate it to some sort of like a yearly salary. Let's say Bitcoin gets up to 50,000, and they may be thinking, at their job or something, that, they make 50,000, or they don't even make 50,000, or whatever it may be. That isn't a very palatable thing. Your common person has a hard time coming to grips with that. Now, obviously, this is going to be, this whole thing's being front run this time by institutional investing. But then you have to ask yourself, does retail come in as strong? as they come in on the back end, are they almost feel like they're almost like priced out to begin with, and they can't kind of play this game. Whereas previous, the whole thing was led by retail for the most part. So that is yet to be seen, the psychology behind that. Secondly, the networks have not scaled. So you've got a lot of the same issues now that you had back in 2017. Bitcoin used to work better in 2013, 2014 than it does now, which is really sad to say. The whole premise of digital cash, you know, that's a long gone memory, and for Bitcoin. And then with Ethereum, you know, all this excitement around DeFi and stuff like that. For all practical purposes, there's not a lot of real world applications that are being done. It's more the premise of like, well, stake this and get more coins, or you know, do this and that. It's sort of internal to the cryptocurrency space. It's kind of like running an exchange. Well, that's like it's a service within the cryptocurrency space. It doesn't do anything real world kind of outside of the cryptocurrency world. So you know, keep that in mind. So I think that's going to kind of choke things off. And you know, my original thing is saying like $50,000 Bitcoin on the very, 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 very conservative thing, and that was before this whole run up. Now it ran there a lot faster, and obviously we got to 41,000. So I think that, you know, the price can obviously, you know, you can kind of set it further back, or, you know, feel safe kind of doing that and setting the Bitcoin price on up. But I'm not one of these people saying, oh, it's going to get to 250,000 this cycle. I don't know about that. But if you stayed super, super conservative, and you said Bitcoin was going to go to 100,000, and he said Ethereum is typically 0.05 of a Bitcoin historically, then that would put it at 5,000 if Bitcoin went to 100,000. But then you have to be more conservative and say, well, what if Bitcoin only gets to 80,000? Because people don't want to be at the top and get dumped on. I mean, this whole crypto, a lot of the crypto game is, you know, don't get dumped on, you know, so you have to realize that. It's like everybody's trying to get over on each other, like, you know, dump on them before you get dumped on. You know, it's kind of a weird thing. And you can say, well, that's how all markets work. And to some respect, yes. But say, like, let's just say we get super conservative and say Bitcoin's going to 80,000. Ethereum ends up being 0.05 of that. You're talking $4,000 Ethereum. I think that's a little bit more reasonable, because the fee situation is not going to solve itself on Ethereum in the near term. You have to understand, and then somebody's going to pop up in the comment section and say with Bitcoin, oh, there's the Lightning Network. We've been hearing about the Lightning Network since 2015. Is it going to solve some problems? Maybe, yeah, like it might, but for all practical purposes, these things haven't scaled. It's actually somewhat embarrassing, but you don't want to get caught without Bitcoin and without Ethereum. And oddly enough, in a weird turn of events, with everything that's happened, you know, with different trades and stuff like that, suddenly Ethereum is my biggest holdings. Very weird, because if you go back a couple years, I wasn't really kind of looking at it as necessarily a top 5, like definitely have a position, but wasn't even looking at it as a top 5 position. But just the way this thing's went, you know, that's that. And it's funny because I didn't really anticipate it scaling. I thought a lot of it would be smoke and mirrors, and, you know, they definitely pulled off a big smoke and mirrors with the beacon chain. It's like, hey, we didn't scale, but hey, we got this side chain called the beacon chain. Now you can lock up your Ethereum. You're not going to be able to do smart contracts with it over there. It's just going to sit there for, you know, undefined amount of time, maybe a couple years, and people are going for it. People are locking up their Ethereum on the beacon chain, so which reduces supply and drives the price up. So guys, I think a realistic price prediction for Ethereum is going to be around $4,000. These other people saying like $20,000. And could it go there? Could it go to 10,000? Could it go to 15,000, 20,000? Yes, but like that upper end peak is going to be so sharp and severe. You have to understand, crypto goes up like a rocket and it comes down like a guillotine. So that last move, that last leg, whether it goes up to 5,000, it goes up to 8,000, it goes up to 10,000, it's going to be so quick and sharp, and the fees are going to be so high on the network, unless you're sitting there with sell orders on Coinbase, sell orders on Kraken, and you know, you're already kind of set up for that. You're going to kind of miss that. It's going to happen so fast. So just keep that in mind, guys. And what do you guys think? I mean, do you think the price is going to go a lot higher? I think there is going to be unreal demand. I think there is going to be a lot of demand for it. But at the end of the day, I don't see it getting up to the price targets that a lot of these YouTubers are saying. And I think that it's a dangerous game when you start banking on that. And another thing that happens is you'll start doing calculations of, okay, I have this many Cardano, I have this many Ethereum, and if it gets to this price, and then you'll be punching it in the calculator and looking at what that is, and then you start attributing that to something you could buy, whether it be a supercar, whether it be a boat. And then you're like, that's an indicator. If you're doing that, because I've certainly done it, I do it all the time. So that's an indicator to myself that things are getting overheated almost in your own mind, and you're almost losing sight of like reality when you're doing that. And you're literally, you'll see a thumbnail from a YouTuber saying $20,000 Ethereum, and you're literally taking the amount of Ethereum that you have and multiplying that by whatever ridiculous price prediction they made. It's just not rooted in reality. Now, oftentimes in a bull market, things will go higher than expected, or go longer. It'll go on longer than you expect. That is a real thing. But I think if you exercise some prudence, and guys, look back at my videos, go back to December 11th of 2018, and look at some of the times where I bought crypto, and look at some of the prices that I got. So you have to understand, there's a lot of people that were, let's say, buying at the lower prices and stuff like that. And so you might be like pretty far into the money. And if you lose sight of kind of that, you know, you maybe are up, you can kind of spoil it for yourself and hold on too long. And then when you come down the other side, it can sometimes come down faster than you went up. And then you've just lost it all, and then you're on suicide watch. So, you know, keep that in mind. You're better off kind of feathering out earlier than you are like holding on to the very end and then getting burned by the situation. Another thing too is you move to maybe more conservative strategies, and I'm still playing partially with this idea because, you know, sometimes I've been on exchanges and you'll get a return. Like Hotbit, if your stuff is sitting on there and you're doing a little bit of trading, you do get interest, you get a little bit more. And some of these platforms that are more set up for that, whether it be Voyager, whether it be BlockFi, these kind of things, or you do a decentralized route and you go with Aave, you know, strategy might be over time just kind of feathering out to USDC, and then basically loaning and getting the interest, you know, off of those coins. And you can get as high as like 8.5% or something like that with USDC. So if you go back to a more conservative strategy, kind of later in the boom, or as this thing goes on, you're still making money, but you're just not maybe making as much, or not, you know, getting some of the price appreciation. Another thing is, let's say you stick with a certain amount of core holdings. I think that more and more we're going to see this where people are going to be able to perpetually live off of their crypto by taking loans out against it. So you'll have your Bitcoin, you'll have your Ethereum, or whatever other assets, and then you can earn a return off of it in the times where you kind of don't need it, and then when you need like some money out, then you can take a loan against it. And I mean, just think about this. Let's say you take a loan out against your crypto, and then you buy a house like all cash, or you buy a vehicle all cash, and then you're able to expense the interest from the loan. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like you mortgage the Bitcoin to buy a house kind of thing, which is kind of interesting, you know, or there's various ways you could play it out or whatever. But I think that's going to be more common, because then if we do hit better like price stability and we maybe don't fall as far, it's yet to be seen. Are we going to fall 85% again on the other side of this bull market or not? I tend to think that human emotions and human greed is going to kind of play out to be very, very similar. So I think we could definitely go higher than we think, and then we could just kind of fall the same amount, like 85%. And a lot of stuff, you know, these projects are getting 10 or 20% done of what they reportedly are going to get done, or there's always a carrot hanging out there. They don't really ever get anything done. And again, people think I'm being negative and stuff. I have positions in these. I want Ethereum to go high. I want Cardano to go high. But when you have a smart contract platform like Cardano that's been out for 4 years, that isn't even capable of smart contracts, I mean, it starts to get embarrassing, guys. I mean, you know, how much money do you have to raise and how many years do you have to work on this to get it? And I know someone's gonna say, oh, it's just around the corner, it's just around the corner. Yeah, I've been in crypto since 2013. Everything's just around the corner. Everything's gonna be the killer app that's gonna come out, and you're just thinking, what happened to this stuff? You know, remember, anybody that's been around for a long time, remember Open Bazaar? It was gonna like kill eBay. Everybody was gonna be like buying stuff. It was gonna be this huge market, you know, that was gonna like destroy eBay. We were gonna have fees, and we're gonna use Bitcoin on there. And it's like, what happened to that? And I mean, I can name 20 or 30 or 50 projects, 100 projects that are, I feel the same way about. So anyway, guys, that's the price predictions. You know, stay conservative. Like when everything's collapsing, I literally had people saying that I was throwing my money away back in 2018. And those were people in crypto that had been in crypto and rode the thing up and were salty. When it was coming down, they thought I was throwing my money away. All this and that. But again, weird turn of events. Suddenly Ethereum is my largest holdings. Yeah, I certainly do hope it blows past 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, all that kind of stuff. But I don't really, I can't sit here and just be daydreaming about $10,000 or $20,000 Ethereum. Let's just say that. To stay level-headed, rather cut out a little early, take the win, be conservative, than get burned on the other end. So anyway, guys, what do you guys think? How high is it going to go? How high is Bitcoin going to go? I tend to think this $80,000 Bitcoin, $4,000 Ethereum. It's a safe bet. It's conservative. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps out a lot. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Library, Steam, Hive, DTube. See you guys later.